What happened, Tom, in Baltimore?
My understanding has been there was a general frustration. It was not all directed at John Harbaugh. There was a general frustration of a season that seemed to go sideways from go. And when you get to the end of it and you have that level of disappointment, where let's remember, we could easily be talking about the Ravens hosting a playoff game this week against the Texans if Tyler Loop, the hand-picked kicker by John Harbaugh, former special teams coordinator, doesn't slice a field goal. That's the thin margin between John Harbaugh being in the playoffs and John Harbaugh right now being out of a job. This was not a team that quit. Were there certain players that felt like change was needed? I'm sure there were. And I know that the team brass and Steve Bisciotti talked to some of those players, and I'm sure that they heard a variety of different opinions. But, frankly, I got a text from John Harbaugh yesterday, and one of the things that he said was this was actually one of his, I believe he said, most rewarding years, favorite years, because of the way that the team battled through adversity to give themselves a chance. So Steve Bisciotti made that decision. It was shocking enough to people involved that John Harbaugh, as recently as that day, was talking to about his assistant coaches about what the future was going to hold for them. Staff members got called into a meeting with Eric DeCosta and the team president, Sashi Brown, in which they said, Steve made a change. We'll get back to you with more information. Everybody was taken aback. You look back at the number, I believe 4 playoff wins since 2013. You understand some of that. They've been a very patient and consistent franchise. Steve Bisciotti's patience ran out, but it was with the overall program and the direction they were going, which brings us to what are the logical landing spots for John Harbaugh. Miami is certainly one, though again, John Harbaugh is going to want to have alignment, if not be able to have a strong voice in his GM. Miami right now is moving forward as if they are going to hire a GM in the next day or two. Atlanta makes a lot of sense. Arthur Blank talked about it earlier today, saying they'd like to talk to John Harbaugh if he's willing to talk to them. But they are also pretty far down the line in terms of the interview process. The other place that makes sense is the New York Giants. There's all kinds of reasons that New York, at the center of this, would appear to be the logical spot for John Harbaugh. But it is not a slam dunk. It is not a done deal. This is not waiting out, them checking boxes and talking to other people. I mean, they've got other strong candidates. This might be like an old school coaching search, Rich, 20, 30 years ago, where it was, all right, you order those top 3 teams, and if you take the first visit and you don't get a deal done with him,
see ya.
He's out of the building. He's going someplace else. This could set up that way for John Harbaugh. Nothing is set right now. Nothing is scheduled. But that first team could be the New York Giants. We're just going to have to see exactly how this plays out.